Well, now, good evening, everybody. If everybody can find their seats, and if the candidates can make their way to the stage, please. Serenity? Yeah. Your mom is lost. Please report to customer service. Can you grab her phone, make sure phone's silent, please? Like I did that announcement to everybody. So, real quick, I really do appreciate you guys coming tonight, candidates as well. This is our American right, and it's awesome to see this in play. So, thank you guys for being here. I also want to thank Larry, and I'm going to let him do all his introduction and the rules, so I'm going to be very quick, I promise. But Larry Minigan. So he's going to be our moderator facilitator for tonight, and I hope you guys have a great time and get to know the candidates. Thank you for being here.
All right, thanks.
Oh, did it not work?
Thanks for coming, everybody. So I was telling Kathy earlier today, grew up with 4 sisters, so I know how to project, okay? I'm Larry Dominigini. I farm in the Willows area. I'm on the board of directors for the Glenn County Farm Bureau. We've done 3 of these candidates nights for county offices in the last 6 years. I've been part of each of them. Thank you to the candidates. This is a volunteer job that they're seeking. Win or lose, I give them high marks for volunteering to do it. Because being on the school board is not an easy job. There are a lot of different issues intersecting, so they're going to learn a lot. They're going to get a lot of experience. But thanks for being here. What we're going to do is we'll have opening statements, 3 minutes each, all time. I'll start waving when it's like 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, and then I'll catch you off when it's 3 minutes. We'll do opening statements. We got 5 prepared questions that I'll ask them. We'll go through. Everybody will get a chance to answer. Then it'll be 3 minutes for closing statements. They can choose to skip the opening or closing statements if they want. There's questions in the back. I'll grab those at some point. And I'll consolidate them if there's similar questions. I'll put them together. If the question's already been addressed, I'm not going to ask that. If the question is just specific for one candidate, I'm not going to ask that. That can be a one-on-one between you and the candidate that the question's directed at. So that being said, water, I don't know if there's coffee, there's cookies back there. Let's figure out where the bathrooms are, because you guys know the place, I don't. I'm from Willows. Question? Is that the county library or the school library across the parking lot?
So they moved it down
From the high school?
Yeah, to the high school. So that is a
Okay, that's the preschool.
yes.
Last time I was up here was for Willows Library Board, we always go. Okay, just had to ask. So, all right, again, thanks. The rules of decorum: no cheering, no booing, no cat calls, anything like that, or clapping. This is a nice, civil discussion. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that. So we're going to start with opening statements. Kathy, you get to go first. We'll go down, and then for the 5 questions, Abby, you'll answer. You get to go first on the first question, and we'll go around. And Delana, you get to answer the second question. And got these questions Saturday, so we've had some time to think about it. And as I said, these 5 questions, I'm sure it got them thinking, and it'll get you thinking also as we ask them. What I'll do is I'll just say the question first in each round, and we'll go around. I won't repeat the question for each candidate, because I think you all have maybe you have a printout of your questions. If you want, I can always restate the question. So. Okay. So, Kathy, would you like to start with an opening statement?
Yes. Hello, my name is Kathy Bodecker, and I live in Area 3 of the school district. Thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you, Larry, and thank you for the school administration providing the cafeteria for us to get together. I have lived in the Elk Creek community for 12 years now. I have a 16-year-old granddaughter, Serenity, who lives with me and attends Elk Creek High School as a sophomore. My motivation for participating on the board is to fill the need of the position, to be actively connected with my granddaughter's education, and to help encourage and maintain unity for all the kids with their school family. When I learned that the incumbent from my area was leaving the board, I decided to get involved because of the need. My granddaughter Serenity is motivated to go to college. She wants to take advantage of opportunities to do this without the strain of the student loan debt. Therefore, I want to help her with this. By being on the school board, it will help me to be more aware of how I can assist her in setting a good course for her academic future. My other motivation is unity. Many people describe our communities as charming. We are charming in comparison to larger communities. Unfortunately, along with being small and charming, our communities tend to slip through the county cracks at times. So we have to work a little harder to get what we need. We have quite the diversity of peoples here with culture, religion, work ethics, and nostalgia. In spite of these diversities, I believe we need to create an atmosphere of family for the kids. Our kids spend a significant amount of time with each other and the faculty. This school, the administration, and the kids are a unit, a family set apart from their personal family structures. We can get behind this school family. It needs to be supported, appreciated, encouraged, and protected. With such a rapidly changing world around us, how do we keep the charm within our school district? We need to support this school family. They need to be able to establish their own school culture, help the kids to stay focused, and create goals for their academic futures. Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy. Abby?
Hi, my name is Abby Audrey Bill Flanders, aka Abby. I went to the school myself here in Elk Creek. I graduated from Elk Creek. I'm married, my husband Ken. We've been married for 48 years. And also we've raised our kids who have attended Elk Creek as well. They graduated from here, all 5 of them. They raised their families here. Up until this year, we only have 1 grandchild left in this district, which is pretty sad, I feel. We are generations before us Oak Creekers. Before that, my Bill family all attended Stony and here in Elk Creek as well, which is one reason I wanted to get on board to give our schools the schools that it once was for our kids, and to continue to have them be proud of what is here for them. And I want the kids to learn that they want to stay in the community, to be equal, and to get the education, and to do what kids do. Enjoy their young lives, to grow, in turn to be great humans. Thank you.
Thanks. Wayne?
Hi, I'm Helena Martin. I'm a member of Rancheria. I've lived here all my life. I went to school children have went to school here, my grandchildren go to school here. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My goal is, if I can get elected again, is to make sure that the kids are heard and, they feel, welcome, and they feel that they are protected. Maybe I'm going off something else, but I want, our school to be connected. I want everybody involved. Speaking for myself, I'm a child care provider, so it's hard for me to be involved in, school activities. I just want better for our children, not just for Native Americans, but also for everybody to be involved in some way or another. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Excuse me. My name is Diane Cole, as you can see. I have lived in this area for 55 years, so have been here for a while. Graduated from the largest class in the history of this school. My late husband graduated from here. Our daughter graduated from here. My siblings went to school here. Went to school in Indian Valley. I have nephews and nieces that have graduated from here. I now currently have great nieces attending the school. So I have some, for lack of a better word, I have some ownership in the school, I guess. I care about what happens here. I do want to squash a rumor that's going around. I am not moving and selling out, and I'm not strictly on this board to get rid of the superintendent. I've only wished her success, not only to her face, but in a meeting. I want that made clear. Now, if somebody comes along and offers me a good price for my house and I can afford to move before tenant, I'm sorry, I will do that, but it's probably not going to happen right away. I want to see our kids come back to our school. I went through and did some research, and a couple of years ago we had 87 kids. I think we have 58, I think is the latest, and that's disturbing. I went, where'd they go? In one of my answers here, that's part of it. I think that, I believe somewhere, or the superintendent may have said it's like a 6-to-1 ratio. We should be a rock star school with that. I mean, that's a dream for kids to have that kind of contact. Most kids are in classrooms with 25 or more other children, you know, and 15 of those could be naughty children, so they're really not learning. But there was a position open. I tried out for getting appointed, and myself and Ms. Davis, and that didn't happen, so I decided to go ahead and run for this position. I retired from 28 years in the education field. Prior to that, I worked 16 years for the federal government, and I was on this school board for 12 years at my house. So I have a school background experience. And thank you.
I'm a member of the school site council. I've been a 4-H leader for the last 3 years when we restarted 4-H in Stony. I teach scrapbooking and garden club. My husband started teaching welding in 4-H last year, and then Donna Wilson asked him if he would be interested in volunteering 1 day a month here at the high school to teach it in the ag class, and that quickly turned into 2 to 3 days a week with great response from kids and teachers. My goal, should I be elected, is to continue finding new opportunities for the students in this school. Kids need to be exposed to new technologies and future careers. Not every child is college bound, and they need to know that they have choices to explore. I support job shadowing and apprenticeship, visiting colleges and vocational training programs. I want to bring people and resources together from this community and beyond to share their knowledge, talents, and experiences. Not every child has an interest in team sports. I want them to find a spark that lights their inner fire. Thank you for your time.
Right now, we'll start the questions. Abby, you get to go first, and the question was, what is your top priority as elected?
Well, I think, to me, right now, with the changes that came last year, we got a whole new staff almost here. And we need to gain the trust of the kids, because a lot of things, new things have been thrown at them. They've gone through a lot of changes here. I've heard some things, but I don't want to get into that, but, you know, we got to think about the kids. But I also know that communication is one of the biggies here. Because in my experience that I worked here, it wasn't very, very good. So, but I was in the district long enough to know what I had to do. And I did it. With all the new people coming, I don't know from who is going to step up to do what I did. And because at times I had to improvise, do a lot of things within what I set things down, talk to kids, help the teachers. And the communication thing, sometimes we didn't get it. So I think those are some of the goals we need to do, is to get a communication going between everybody. But that was mine. I don't know. I understand some of that is still going on, so I think that should be taught. And then I think we need to get the people in the right positions. Because when I had a teacher job, I had a bus driving job. And to me, the bus driving job should have been filled. Because how do we get these kids here? I had the biggest bus load and I had the littlest bus. But the majority of the people that I brought to school every day was on my bus. And I think that should have been taken care of ASAP in my book, because those kids need to get to school. To this day, I see van after van after van coming out to pick up the kids on the reservation, when we should have had one driver picking up those kids at the designated spots every day. And our teachers are teachers, not drivers. I know how that is, because I did. You come in that door over there,
like I said, we went from having 88 students down to 58. And that's, where did those kids go? That's a lot of kids to be gone. I think we need to count on what Abby said. We need to make sure we are fully staffed, because the school year did not start out fully staffed, even though some have said so, because, well, now there's a vacant mechanic maintenance lead position. There's also the transportation lead position is not filled. There's a custodian position that needs to be filled. And there was a half aide, Stony Creek aide, half GCOE aide in Elk Creek that was not filled. And even though Indian Valley was closed, those students are down here. They should get the same services down here. So I think that needs to be looked at. So there's plenty of support, especially since there's, I think, what is it, 5 or 6 new teachers here. So I want to make sure that money is being spent wisely and that our budget stays solid. That's really important. And I really want to work as a unit of 5 that can be professional and leave personal feelings aside and work cohesively with the superintendent. That would make a strong board, and in order to do that, you have to have communication, and you have to have transparency. That's my top priority. Thank you.
Rita?
My top priority in continuing to serve on the board is to support our staff and administration in some of these really good new initiatives that we've started this past year. Things are not going to change overnight, we know that, but there are some really exciting things moving forward in our district, and I'm looking forward to supporting those. The 4-day school week, the governor has signed the bill that will allow us to really start planning and seeing what a 4-day school week would look like for our students. I really believe that that's going to increase our student well-being, less stress, less burnout, allowing students more time, extracurricular activities, and that's going to lead to higher attendance rates and students wanting to come to our district. And that can really pull students in. It's going to result in reduced teacher burnout and enhanced teacher retention. We have had a lot of teacher turnover, and we need anything we can get to, we have these valued teachers now, we want to keep them here. So 4-day school week can help with that. Support our community and families by allowing more family time and more time to do cultural events. Another thing that's really positive going forward in our district that's going to just increase this year is the PBIS, Positive Behavioral and Interventions and Supports system that's in place. I was on the team that helped build the framework for our school, and I'm excited to see how it's being rolled out across all campuses. There's a big focus on positive and incentivizing kids for doing the right thing, being leaders of the herd, using uniform expectations across all classrooms, all students, so the kids know what to expect. They can rise to the occasion, and they already are showing that they have. I think that's just going to continue to have a positive influence in our school. We have the advanced
willing to show, willing to spend their time with the kids. The volunteerism in this community is so low. When we had the meeting last year at the Indian Valley School and discussing the closing of the school, my husband asked the question at the time, all it takes is a background check and a fingerprint. Somebody else step up. Lee stepped up to do welding. Not one single person in the last year has stepped forward and done background check and done the fingerprinting and volunteered to do anything in this school district. That needs to change. That needs to fall on you. That needs to fall on us. That needs to fall on other people in the community. This school cannot thrive if we're not here to help, not complain, not cause problems, but say, I've got this ability and I am willing to teach somebody else to do it. I will read the kindergarten. I will be the lunch lady. What do you need? That needs to happen in the school.
Kathy?
I have not had as much experience as the rest of these ladies. This is all fairly new to me. I've got my experience has just been really fine. I have 8 children. 6 of them are boys, and I know that when the boys reach a certain age, the last thing they want to do is be in the classroom. And they've got better things to do than waste their time there. My desire is to create an atmosphere of peace, not only for the students, but for the teachers. These teachers are doing this job because they enjoy the kids learning. And when there's chaos, it disrupts everybody, even the ones that want to learn. It's very uncomfortable and discouraging. As Melissa said, that not all children are college bound, and there's lots of blue collar work. We have men in this community, ranchers, beekeepers, different ones that are always looking for help, and they're willing to teach and guide. And if these young men want to learn something, there are men out there that are willing to take them under their wing and show them. How do we motivate them to want to learn something and to grow? It takes time. Big thing, getting behind the administration and the faculty, supporting them. When we are at odds with each other, it eventually gets down to the kids, and they're not doing well, and that is on us. We need to hold to a standard where we are being respectful to each other, and we're doing the best we can. Our work ethics need to be that, where we are an example, and we're having them to learn and grow in these areas. I know that sports is a big thing, and we'd like to see more kids participate. And I think we've got some good people in charge of that and coaching those things, and I appreciate all those. But
Okay, time's up.
okay, thank you.
Second question, we'll start with Elena, and it is, one of your responsibilities is to manage tax dollars to the best of your ability. What are your thoughts on this responsibility specifically?
I would have to say that these projects that are followed, we have to make sure that the budget is being followed and it's solvent. Board members need to do their own research. When it's brought to a board to approve a project and you don't understand, it's okay to say, we need to table this, I need to do some more research. I think sometimes money may get spent on stuff that not everybody fully understands, which is okay, and it's okay to say that you don't understand. So I think it's really important to, especially on large expenditures, to know exactly what the money's being spent on. Be sure to have clear communication on the expenditures. Exactly, not just say, oh, it's vendor X, Y, and Z. What exactly is this being spent on? That makes things much better, because as a board member, you could get asked, hey, why are they building that building out there? Or for lack of something better, not that big, wouldn't be approved without the board, but you have to let your board know what's going on, so that when folks ask you, you don't get blindsided and say, I have no idea. A school must show that they can meet their budget for 3 years out. And I think sometimes there's overspending of carryover money. And this is something that a board really wants to pay attention to, because we never know what the governor is going to give us every year in the education fund. We might think we're going to get a lot of money, and then you don't have it, you spend your carryover, and you're in trouble. So the budget is very, very important, and it's very important to be transparent about it. The public has a right to know what their money is being spent on. Thank you.
Rita?
I recently heard something in a leadership development training that I thought was perfect for this. It was, we have enough money to do anything, but not enough money to do everything. So we really have to manage, as we've said, the financial resources of our district, and it is one of the number one responsibilities of the board. This starts with accountability and transparency, making sure that we know where every single dollar tracked, justified, and it's used to benefit the students in some way. We must make sure that these funds are spent efficiently, prioritizing initiatives and programs that we know work, or that have data behind them that are going to support student achievement and well-being. Oftentimes it seems like we're just putting out one immediate fire after the next. We also need to focus on long-term investments, such as maintaining school infrastructure, updating technology, looking at competitive salaries for our staff, and as ways to ensure that our district can maintain. As I said before, I work in grant finance, and I understand how complex that is with the mix of grants and partnerships and alternative funding sources to supplement those tax dollars. And all of those funding sources have different strings attached, so it's really important that we realize that not everything can be spent just on salaries or just on buying with us, of knowing what those funds can be used for, what the timelines are associated with them, that they're use it or lose it in a lot of cases, and it is important that we have that clear communication with our staff, with the community, with our parents, to know that why these decisions are being made. Lastly, we need to use data to make informed budgetary decisions. For example, the closing of the Indian Valley campus was based on many different aspects, but one of those was the budget implications. Without having sound financial statistics, understanding the attendance ban implications of open versus closed, looking at increased operational efficiencies and how those could impact our budget, the board could not have made an informed decision in that kind of a situation. Managing tax dollars is a serious commitment, and something where we have to balance financial stewardship with student success. The goal has to be making sure that every decision reflects both respect of the taxpayer and the community and what their input is, and the drive to continue improving and having a better future for our students.
Crystal?
Well, I mean, I take it very seriously. It'll be short, but as a previous small business owner, I can tell you, running a business is not the same as personal finances. It's very, very different. And then running a school district is even more different. And so, when we have our regular finances and we go to a school district that's having to budget millions of dollars, which, yeah, to us, that's a lot. You go to
expression, she's so tight she squeaks. That's me. I do not spend money frivolously, not in my home, not in any of the companies that I work with, the groups, the volunteerism. I question everything. There is not a line item that I am not asking, why was this amount of money spent on this thing? I am green as grass to the school board issue, so I don't know our budget and, you know, how we allocate it and everything, but I will tell you that I'm not rubber stamping anything. I will question every dollar that needs to be spent.
Kathy?
I had asked someone about this, and they had given me some good information as far as setting up a system, like for myself anyway. When things come up, I take the finances seriously, the tax money, in this system, it would be how spending money, does it benefit the kids, does it benefit the faculty, the school, the community, and if it only benefits one, maybe it's not worth considering. If it benefits two, it'd be worth considering. Three, for sure. As I said earlier, I have a lot to learn, and I will be relying on other people who know more about this to guide me through.
Abby?
Okay, well, for me, I worked in kindergarten. I played with plastic points. So, but anyway, for me, I think getting the advice from our financial guy, we always, I know Dusty from county, he would give you some advice, and then working together with whomever is on the board, great heads will work together, I think, so, with that being said, and we would have to go and see where and how this money is to be spent, not just on taking lunch. And, or, you know, some of those things, and when we iron it all out, as like Kathy said, what's gonna be beneficial to our district as a whole? The kids, the staff, and then depending on the need, I think we can go from there. Thank you.
Right, next question. Anna, you get to go first. And the question is, how would you go about improving student engagement?
Well, I thought a lot about this because children are different in this day and age. They're, you know, talked about sports, there's a lot of bigger schools that can't even field a team because kids aren't interested. So I think we need to have electives that entice all students, not just a few. So I know that Oak Creek's always kind of geared towards ag type classes. However, a lot of kids aren't into ag. They just really aren't. And so I think we need to tap into their interests to try to set up electives that fit the majority of the kids. So I don't know. I mean, maybe poll. There's not that many children that you can poll and find out what you're really interested in. And maybe lean towards that with electives. At one of the board meetings, Delaney here actually mentioned doing the Native American meeting, which would be, I mean, it could cover a lot of things. We could do a history course on it, we could do local culture, all that kind of stuff, and that would be a really cool thing. And I believe, I think Melissa brought up about having volunteers. We have a lot of people in the communities that have different skills. We have an artist in Stony that makes my earrings I have on. He makes all kinds of stuff out of different silverware. He draws stuff. He's a musician. We need to get a hold of more people than just a small pot of folks and put it out there, advertise or whatever, not just word of mouth, and maybe we can get somebody to come in and teach some different things. Advertise in the community for folks that may have a specialty that could or would want to help the students. As for the required curriculum courses, I think we need to really support the staff if they want to venture outside that box and still meet the standards. Some teachers have some wild ideas that might entice the kids to really want to get involved. And like I said before, with the 6-to-1 ratio, we should be a desired school for learning. And then I think that making attendance, and Emily may already be doing this, I don't know, I asked my niece, but first quarter's not up yet, so I think that making attendance a big deal. The better the attendance, the better the learning, and attendance has always been an issue here. It's actually an issue in a lot of schools. But make a big deal out of those kids that make, maybe not 100% all the time, but make a big deal out of it if they make 90%. So,
Rita?
Well, students want to have fun and be engaged at school in a positive learning environment. And there's a lot of talk about social emotional learning. And honestly, I didn't really understand what it was about. So I came to the teacher in service here and got a real eye-opening education from the gal who came from Lake County Office Ed about how if our kids are not safe and fed and warm and clothed, we can't even think about teaching them anything. So really being able to make sure that we can support our kids' mental health and well-being, you know, whether that be providing additional resources to families, counseling, anti-bullying initiatives. If we can create a place where these kids feel safe and valued and respected, regardless of where they came from, what their background is, how much money their parents have, it's gonna really make them feel like they're part of our community. Like we've talked about here, you know, bring in volunteers and real world folks in careers, project-based learning, so that the kids can apply what they're learning to something how it's actually going to impact them in the real world. Different electives, different pathway programs that might pique their interest. Offering a broad range of extracurricular activities, like the track team we were able to start this year to cater to a diverse range of student needs and things that don't need a big team. I mean, realistically, we're not going to field those big sports teams as much as we want to, but there's a lot of other alternatives that we can look into. Golf, cross country, wrestling, more things in MFA, and provide kids a way to be a leader and have a voice. Even in small classes, there's got to be ways that we can provide leadership positions, having a student member of the school board, setting up a way for our high school students to be leaders. We have, read the kindergarten
activities that they're actually going to do. You can't just do the sports. I agree with the paring it down that you can't field a football team. Okay, but you can field a track shooting team. We can field a track and field. We can have one kid throwing shot put. You can have one kid running track and hurdles. You're at least doing something. There has to be things out there. It's also the parents' responsibility to get your kids involved. Don't just say, you don't have to do anything. Go to school, do your time, and come home. You have to reach those opportunities. As a parent, you have to encourage your kids, whether they're in elementary school, you know, and you're going to do a t-ball team or the Pop Warner football. I don't know if they call it Pop Warner anymore, but in my day it was. All the way up through high school. If you as a parent aren't looking at who's in your house going, what are they doing? Where are they engaged? That's on you. You have to encourage your kids to come. You have to be the one to drive them to practices. You have to be the one to drive them to extracurricular activities and make sure that they're fed and dressed and have a good night's sleep. You have to engage as much as a parent as you're expecting these children to engage in a school system.
Kathy?
Connection, last year when Lee came and started the welding with the kids, it made such a difference for some of them. And, they're excited about those things. We can be connected, we can learn kids' names, we can show up for the games, we can encourage the parents to encourage their children. Being connected, reaching out to different people in the community that might be willing to give some of their time. And a lot of people are busy, I know that. But connection, that's what I want to work towards building.
Abby?
Well, my thing was like both of them. We need to get the kids out. I think that really you can ask your kid, not just tell them this is what we want to do. What do you choose to do of these things that I'm offering you? How about you ask them, hey, what would you like to do? Is there something you would like to try? How about you? I don't think that was offered like that. I think if you ask your kid, honestly, he would open up and say, well, maybe today, let's do something different. Let's don't go out on the basketball court. Let's go play catch on the football field. Let's go up there and play some frisbee. You give the option to a kid, he's going to tell you something. Let's go. You see my front yard? I got a lot of junk in my front yard. Kids love my front yard because it's offered to them to do what they want to do. You let them make choices. Offer that choice to them. All kids love to make choices. And here we offer one or two things when there's a lot in the world to offer. I think we can, if we step outside of the box and not be afraid ourselves, these kids will pick that up as well. Thank you.
Right. Elena?
Student engagement, I would, have to say, like, always in general, or, now, but, communication, you know, you have to want to know what the children want, maybe they'd rather make cakes or, you know, something, I don't know, home ec isn't, offered, or, you know, maybe they want to sew, like I said, you know, give them choices of something that they would like to do. I think, maybe engaging in, some beadwork, show the rest of the students what we have to offer. You know, maybe a little bit of language, or, maybe how to make fry bread, or, you know, something simple like a necklace or a pair of earrings, or, you know, just so we could all be as one. I think, communication is a big thing, and, involvement needs to come from all directions.
how would you work to improve the engagement of the community?
Well, I think that increased community engagement comes back to communication, which we've talked about up here a lot, and improving channels of communication in ways that are clear, frequent, and accessible. And I think that that, from my perspective, has been happening a lot lately with the district. You probably noticed a lot of the increased usage of the district's Facebook page to show the highlights of the students, different activities, things from non-group B2B, as well as a dedicated page both for the FFA program and
just bridging that cultural gap without making me feel awkward that you shouldn't be asking questions, and giving of herself. And I think that this community needs more of that, that we need to not be two different cultures side by side in one school, but we need to blend. We need to do the meeting and classes like that, the fry bread that Delana has talked about, across the board. We need to have more of these cultural families and, have the kids have pride in their culture, but share it and not, keep things back. That there's a lot that we can bridge just by understanding each other better. And I think that our kids can do that, and by the kids doing it, the parents can do it. The parents interacting with each other, talking to somebody when you're at an event. Don't just be in your own little cluster. Meet somebody new. What's your name? Who's your kid? Where do you work? Interact with each other. Don't just be separate. The kids see that, the kids start interacting that way. If you're closed up, they'll remain closed up. And they're not gonna go out in the big world and be children that want to approach, anybody and take on a new adventure. They're going to stay closed up. You have to give a kid confidence.
Kathy?
My thoughts are, word of mouth, people we come in contact with, let them know what's going on, what's taking place in the school, how the school's improving, how they can get involved if they want, and taking the opportunities whenever we're talking to somebody to just be a part of it. And I forgot the rest of what you said.
Okay, I think we need to keep encouraging and inviting our community to our schools and let them see what's here and what we are offering. Keep them informed, because before we got this new system up, whatever it is, I don't know what it's called. I used to be the Facebook lady. The super would call me and say, I used to let everybody know this is a snow day, we're 2 hours on delay, or we would, whatever was happening, everybody would look on my Facebook page and see what was going on. So really, the new system, I really like it because I can see what's going on. And also, I think all the schools have it now, don't they? Because I know my grandson goes to another school, and I get to see what he's doing down in the valley, Oh, in Princeton, he goes to Princeton, but yeah, so, and I think, that is a new idea, because communication has really gotten better up here that way, just not in the building. I think that Facebook page is really keep people knowing what's going on here.
Okay, thanks. Delana?
Again, back to communication and, need to get, parents, community involved, maybe start going door to door in my
thank you. To the folks in Stony Ford, because, a lot of, with board meetings down there, they can come to a board, and that's one way to get the community engaged in the school to find out what's going on. And, I think it's only fair. That's also Stony Ford part of this district. I believe that, the more inviting and open staff is, and the more transparent the school is, the more comfortable it makes it for people to become involved. I think the Facebook page is great. It really is, because it does have lots of information on it, but a lot of people don't do Facebook, especially your older folks in communities. One of the things that I think wouldn't be a bad idea to have every once in a while, a poster thrown up on some of the billboards in town, so that people that go to the mail can see what's going on. One of the things that happens at my granddaughter's school that I think is really cool is they have what's called lunch on the lawn, and the kids can invite their parents, their grandparents, a relative or a neighbor, and they come to the school that day and bring lunch, or they can buy lunch to the cafeteria and they spend it with the students. And it's just a nice little thing to do. They get a big turnout at the school that they attend. And then, like I said, board meetings need to go back to being in Stony Ford and Elk, back and forth. That would make it more open to the community.
Great, thanks. Crystal, next question, you start off. Teachers' professional development and well-being is important. How would you directly support the effort for professional development of the staff?
Well, we do currently support professional development, and as a former teacher, I know there's definitely continuing education credits that need to be met. And I think a way as a board, at least, because a lot of that is actually in the realm of administration, and so we can support our superintendent in doing that and giving the direction to ensure that if there are opportunities for professional development they can go to, that we make them aware of it. In some cases, that we can, if we have the funds to do so, to provide them the opportunity to go to that, to continue their professional development. I do think that their well-being is really, really important in any job. Mental health can, suffer from time to time, and I think having the support of a really good administrative staff that helps them feel supported, that they're able to come and express their needs, their desires, or anything in between. I know this last year we were having a specific teacher that needed to request more behavioral support, and our superintendent got her the behavioral specialist in there. So I feel like that is ways that we can continue to support, especially the mental health and well-being of our teachers and our staff. But as far as professional development per se, and doing trainings, we do keep them up to date on trainings and provide opportunity and training services to accomplish that. But again, being able to support them possibly financially, and those are discussions that I love to have when we have our board meetings, and any opportunity that we have to support our staff for their professional development and their well-being is encouraged and strong after.
Melissa?
Well, you know the expression, you don't know what you don't know? I thought teachers, once you got your degree, that was it. Until I spoke to Crystal yesterday. And she informed me that, no, they have to continue and they're required to get credits throughout their teaching career, and there are trainings and things for them to go to. That was news to me. I thought that was pretty cool though, because you're not stagnant. I know my children grew up post-core math, common core math. I would have never been able to do that. Didn't know that that was a thing that these teachers that were teachers
that is a big deal. It really is a big deal. And so I would keep on encouraging the new people here because we do need that. And then I would also encourage them to write those behaviors and to turn them in and to keep asking for help. We have kids that need maybe an IEP, maybe they need counseling, maybe they need tutors, maybe they need a one-on-one, because I know a lot of these kids. And I would encourage these teachers to keep on asking the administration to please come and help me. Because day after day, it is the teachers who are watching our children and listening to them, and those teachers need to keep saying in order to teach and do their jobs well. And so, I feel for them. I know, I've worked here, and I am behind them 100% on helping our children to be the best that they can be, and to give the help that these teachers need when trouble arises here. And that needs to be dealt with. From my perspective, like now, before other things start happening. Because I've been here a long time, 15 years in that classroom right over there. So I've experienced a lot of that. So if these personal development and the kids the teachers really do need that minute to process on how they're going to deal with these kids. And with the development, I feel sometimes we need to retract on what we've learned and to calm down and to think and work those problems out with these kids. Because I know I have. In 15 years, I didn't have to do that with my grandbabies now that I babysit them 24/7. But, kids are kids. So we need to keep an open mind and work and do our best with them. So, thank you.
Elaine?
Hats off to the teachers and the staff because I know their jobs are very stressful. And like Abby said, keep supporting them, the staff, teachers. And it does need to come again back to communication with the parents, the grandparents, community members. And I support them in any way, so that we, have a good year and years to come. And hopefully we get, our students to come back to our district. Having a lot of students going, it's hurting our school district. And again, just supporting the staff, as much as we can afford.
Teacher professional development is very important. That's the only way that they can learn new ideas, be able to, depending on where they go, they can meet with other teachers, find out what they're doing. But I think that all staff needs to have professional development, not just your teachers. You need to have, offer every single staff member an opportunity. Because one of the parts of this is the well-being of a teacher. It's not just the well-being of the teacher, it's the well-being of every staff member that you have working for your district. Because appreciated staff makes a better cohesive environment, which makes a better learning environment. And one of the ways I believe that you can show appreciation to staff is to offer them training. Because just because you're a cook or an aide or a janitor or a bus drivers have to take training, there still might be something out there that can help you with your job. And it may just be we used to go to these women's when staff is not getting along well, that can affect the children's learning as well. I think team building is important. I needed team building in the 28 years I worked in education, but I got something out of everyone I went to. We had fun stuff though, not just business. The district I was at, they had a team building and they had a paint and snap where they actually had someone come in and they did some painting, and it was, you could see how the folks, Rita would paint different than me, Elena would paint different than when you look at it, it's like, oh my goodness. And it was really good because during that, there was also business being discussed. There needs to be incentives for staff as well, all staff. I worked in one district where you would come into work and there might be a Tootsie Roll on your desk, and that was it. Or you might have a new pen, and it was a small token, but it made you feel appreciated. And I think that helps the well-being of staff as a whole. Pretty soon we started putting a Tootsie Roll on the superintendent's desk or on the administrative assistant's desk because they were the ones doing that. So I think this maybe should have been for teacher professional development is important, and they do have to have so much training every year. It should be all staff development. So, some thoughts.
Rita?
I'm in total agreement there that supporting professional development, not just for teachers, but for all staff, the superintendent and the school board needs to be a priority, with funds specifically earmarked for that. Ongoing training across the board helps everyone stay up on best practices, new technology, evolving curriculum, new laws, regulations, different ways to look at things. Professional development opportunities should be tailored based on the needs of that particular staff, teacher, aide, superintendent, what they might need. It should be practical and relevant. There's a lot of one-size-fits-all courses out there, but in order to actually be useful to our staff, it needs to be really tailored to what they need. There should be access to different forms of professional development, external conferences, webinars, online or hybrid options, which can allow them to do things at their own pace. We need to support teachers and staff in continuous improvement where they are supported to try new strategies. Things might not work perfectly the first time if they want to bring some new way to teach a curriculum into their classroom, and there needs to be that good supportive feedback loop between the administration and the teachers and staff that supports them and gives constructive feedback so they can be continuing to improve without feeling like they just failed. And we all know that teachers' time is already spread thin, and moving to the 40 school week is going to allow, I think, a lot of dedicated professional development time that we're trying to shove things right now in a couple of minimum days a month, and I think that having these extra days is really going to be able to expand offerings and not have the teachers losing out on classroom time, having to get subs to cover the time that they need to go to a conference. And it's not all going to work out in their schedule, but it's going to allow them some more flexibility to be able to do more professional development without taking away from class time or prep time. And we can ensure that they have the resources to do these, whether it be financial support or materials that they need to try something new and different in their class. And it shouldn't have to be ever out of their pocket. If we're going to support them to be trying new things, the school needs to be supported in doing that. I've had the opportunity to attend a small school district association conference with Superintendent Kendall, and there's a lot of superintendents and school board members there. And just those type of opportunities, just to network with other superintendents, other school board members, find out just on a very casual basis, hey, what works in your school? Oh, we haven't tried that yet, or oh no, we tried that. You guys probably shouldn't bother. And it just really not in anything formal, just being able to bounce ideas off of folks. And it's easy to get caught up here and this is just what our school board does. Oh, that's the Willow school board. We can't talk to them, But there's so many other ideas out there that are not school specific, just best practices that we can bring home to our district.
All right, that's the prepared questions. There's some audience questions, and maybe just keep your answers short because we still have to do closing statements. But Rita, I'm going to start with the audience questions with you because it's about, it says, have you thought how a 4-day school week will affect working parents? And maybe could you explain a little bit, at least not everybody's aware of the 4-day week
when offered more opportunities. I had a day of archery that I was good at, and I think I could, expand on that. Giving kids those kinds of opportunities, Mondays are set up for that.
Okay. Kathy, any thoughts?
I think the 4-day is a good idea for, the school attendance, for the native children who have a hard time coming on Monday, and then it would also offer an opportunity for these boys who maybe want to go and work with an uncle, on the ranch, or with one of the men in the community. And the fact that the school is going to be providing, these other things for working families that need their child in school that day, and they can get some tutoring and special help, and I think it's a good thing.
Kathy?
All of those are great ideas, but that's in the world that we don't really live in a lot on the regular. Those kids go to school, you could probably count maybe 3 days in a row, maybe 2. If you go to 4, they're even gonna get lower. I mean, realistically, and they're all that, I would say a lot of them are behind already. And they're never gonna catch up. You're offering them a day to stay home. I stay home too. But are they really gonna come to school on that 5th day that you're offering them? I don't think so. I think they're gonna go do like she said, go work for uncle. Do what she said. They're not gonna come to school to catch up. You're offering me a day to stay home. I can do what I want. That's what they're gonna do. That's my outlook on that, because I know the kids on the reservation. They're already missing. Do you really think they're gonna come and say, oh God, I wanna catch up on math today, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna get all that work caught up? Not when I can stay home and go swimming, are you kidding me? I mean, that's the true reality of what they're gonna do. In the real world, this all sounds perfect, but I don't think so. I wish it was. But where I live, I don't think so.
Elena, thoughts on the?
I really don't agree with it, just only because I know a lot of single parents that have to work, and a lot of those single parents don't have a babysitter, or, maybe, if, honestly, if there was opportunities for the school to be open and for these kids, well, then why not just have a 5-day school week? 5 days a week is, I don't know, it's kind of senseless, I guess, maybe, I don't know, for some people it is good, but for, say, some days, there's single parents that have to work and don't have babysitters, and their babysitter is school, and like Abby had said, about kids not wanting to go to school. I remember when I was growing up, if you didn't go to school, you were either on SAR or, you were gonna, CPS or something is gonna get involved, and it's, right now, it's just saying that it's okay that you don't have to go to school. When my kids were going to school, they had to find their own ride, or, I don't know what to tell you, but if you can't find a ride, then it's chores. I don't want my kids home, I don't want my grandchildren home, because what, they can play video games, they can go fishing with uncle, no, they need to be in school, they need to learn, they need to get their education. So it really
happens every year. But it's not really a 4-day, the district's still gonna be open 5 days a week. So how are you're not gonna save money. You're gonna have certificated here for the kids. How are you gonna know how many certificated you need? Because let's say what happens if your kid decides to go to school on that mission. You're gonna have that classified here 5 days a week. I know in one email that I received from the superintendent, one of the ideas of having the 4-day school week was that so the teachers could have more time with their families. Where you have other folks here besides the teachers. So in that aspect, it's not gonna benefit all the staff. And talking about staff, how many of your teachers are gonna say, pick me to work that 5th day? And are you going, there's gonna have to be a contract, are they gonna want more money than their normal daily pay? And I'm in agreement with these ladies, the kids aren't gonna come to school on that day. They're not, my daughter she was good in school, but I guarantee you, if she had the option, she would not come on that Monday. So I don't know what the 4-day, I don't know how the 4-day, and maybe I don't have all the information. But I just don't right now see how that 4-day would benefit anybody. I just don't.
Some of the questions from the audience are about the declining enrollment and how to increase enrollment. But maybe give it some thought in a few minutes when you do your closing statement. A lot of that's been touched on by student and community engagement. One last question from the public I was going to ask you is, Melissa, you got to get this first. What are your opinions on required vaccinations to attend public schools?
I think California has a law that you used to be able to get a religious exemption so that your kids didn't have to be vaccinated. That law has changed, and you now have to get a certification from a doctor stating that you are exempt from it. There are currently 72 vaccinations that you need to enter public schools. So based on the chemicals that are in it, a lot of parents are opting out of that. You know, I mean, there's formaldehyde that's in some of the vaccines. There are weird things that are, you know, for the polio and the measles and stuff. You know, we're trying to keep an outbreak from happening. I get that. But as a parent, coming from the community of Mendocino County and Boonville, a lot of parents chose to homeschool based on the not wanting to get their kids those 70 vaccination shots.
Kathy, your thoughts on that question?
My thought is that, it would be nice if, people could get information to, be able to send their kids, and if they didn't want to do the vaccines. If I had the opportunity with my granddaughter, I would have gotten her the vaccines. But because I'm from Virginia Garden, I was required to do so. But it would be nice if, people had that option. And their children could still
My children have gone to school from Oregon to Mendocino County. They've actually attended 10 different schools because we traveled with my husband for his job. They have all kinds of world experience. Me being a part of it because I never let my kids just go to school and say, see you when you get home. I was there. I was interacting. I was, a part of the school. I was a PTA president for 10 years. When my youngest child was finally a freshman in high school, somebody said, do you still want to be an elementary school PTA president? Because I didn't, but I was involved and nobody else was stepping forward to take over that responsibility. I'm a parent that asks questions. I am not going to sit home and complain that my kids got bad grades when I don't even know who their teacher is. I don't know what their homework is. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who their friends are. One of the schools that my children attended had a policy at the start of the school year. You just filled in all of your paperwork, and it said that your children will go on school field trips anytime we decide to take them, and you are giving blanket permission. I came to school one day with balloons and a cake for my daughter's class, and the entire school was empty. And I went, whoa, where's my kid? She was at the high school that they had taken all of the kids from the elementary school to the high school. This mom was not okay with that. I have to know where my kids are. Being a part of the school board, being a part of the community, asking questions, being on campus, having the newsletter, having the Facebook, it's bringing us all in. It's expanding what's going on. Knowing when there's volleyball games because we're in, that season right now. It's like, hey, I have Friday off, I will go and watch a volleyball game. If I didn't know about it, if it wasn't published, I'd still be sitting home, on Friday. So I think it's so important to outreach and bring people together.
Kathy, closing statement?
I'm thankful for the opportunity to grow and learn and to better understand how I can help my granddaughter and other kids involved. Getting connected, learning some children's names, and moving ahead.
Well, I want to be on the school board because I think it would be fun to learn new things. But my biggest problem right now is I want to know who the four voting members is in our district. No, we've had trouble with we only have four voting members in our district that between Delana and I right now. So what we need to do is get the voting things out from you guys so we can get some votes in. So we can have one of us be on the school board. So without that, I don't know. Maybe one of us won't be.
There you go.
What can you say? I was thinking about not coming because we don't have enough voters on our side, I know it's not funny, but I've been on the phone all day, waiting for answers from the county to tell me what we were going to do about our situation. So, I'm going to take some of those voters and go. We have to encourage the people out there to get some addresses and fill out, re-register to vote. So, and that's going to be our goal. So we can probably, have a voice on this board. So
Your name is up on the ballot.
yeah, so we can get on the ballot. We're not even on our ballot. So that's our goal. My goal is to be on the board. Help it make it happen.
Closing comments?
I've been on the board for 5 years, and it's a learning experience, and still wanting to learn more. I look forward to the board meetings. I don't really
do what was promised. Bring both communities together. Stony Ford and Elk Creek, actually 3 communities, because we have Grindstone, kind of dragged her in with Grindstone. But I think Mike's past experience would be an asset to this board. That's why I ran.
Rita?
Well, I joined the board 2 years ago after COVID because we were driving a long ways for school at that point. When we moved back up here, the school did not have a good reputation at all at that point, so I chose to only homeschool after COVID. I homeschooled for 2 years and realized that I am not, for those who homeschool moms, I am not one of them. A career and homeschool mom together was not going to fly. So I enrolled my kids here and I thought, if I have improvements that I want to see and I have critiques I want to give, I can't do it from sitting on the parking lot and complaining or looking on Facebook or texting my friends about all this stuff that's happening. I need to be a voice here and actually be able to make some positive change. And I think there's been a lot of positive change happening, and I'm looking forward to being able to continue that.
And Crystal?
Well, I want to stay on the board because I'm actually really encouraged by all the changes we've had. Like I said, looking back on the history of our districts, this year has been like vastly improving in a lot of quality areas. And you know, we mentioned about Ivy, Indian Valley. I think even in the other areas we've pursued, like the 40 a week, it's open connections, and we're already able to do more towards those repairs than we ever thought we could in this time frame. And so I think by reaching out in our communities and like this cluster of a community that we are, but reaching out even further and getting the help from experienced people. I mean, our superintendent is the person to tell you, it was her first year here, she doesn't know everything. We're a bunch of volunteers, we don't know everything. But I mean, I do think that my credentials, you know, former teacher and business owner and all the experiences that I've had do help contribute to this board. And honestly, like, really, it's not necessarily about me though, because if you live in Area 5, I'm here to represent you. And so I want to be the best representation of you and your thoughts, your ideas, your opinions. And so my email is really cool, jcusd.org. You got it, you can find it online too. But like, I have my ideas, I bring them to the board, but I want to hear from you. You know, I am here to be a representation of you and not just represent my own agenda or my own thoughts and opinions on things that, well, I think everyone that one to one board is going to have some sort of qualities and things to offer because we all base our opinions and our thoughts on our past experiences and the things that we have to offer. I think ultimately remembering that we're here to represent you. You know, it's not just about us. We're trying to do the best that we can, but I would love to have that involvement and to hear from you guys because it takes a village, and we have all these kids that are currently enrolled and hopefully more in the future, and I want that village to come alongside and be a part of the process.
All right, thank you. Hey, how about that? It's 9 o'clock, huh? How's that? So,
Just a second, before everybody got out of a couple things. Go back. Hey, just real quick, I heard some of the candidates say what district they are representing, but can we go down the line just so we know what district you're representing, Kathy?
Area 3, Elk Creek proper.
Okay. And then Abby?
2.
Area 2?
No, 1.
1. And Elaine? 1.
District 4.
District 4?
2, I think.
2. Crystal? And 4. Okay. And so just so you guys know, the map is up here. If you don't know where you're at, you can come and look at where you are represented at. So these are the districts up here. So the number, the legends are right here, and the colors. So I could probably do, let's see, District 4, District 5, District 1, District 2, District 3. I cover all of them? Okay. And then real quick, also before I turn it back over to Larry, these type of things don't happen by magic. There was a lot of donations over there by the community. Whoever helped set this up, if you want to stand up or you can just raise your hand just like this if you're
grew up in Willows, attended Willows Unified. It's an at-large district. And then, okay, I hear, okay, I gotta figure out there's districts up here. It's a little different for me, so I can understand why. One thing I learned when my wife was on the Willows School Board, even though they're elected by a district, they represent the whole school district, all right? They're working for every single child and parent in the district. And is a lot of work. I really appreciate and impressed that they're willing to take on this job. And so keep that in mind. My kids will grow if they were here. They are attempting to fill a constitutional office. All right? Just to give you the big picture, it comes right down to right here. Under the U.S. Constitution,